hello everyone, and welcome to our traditional Ask Julie Anything. I am Mariana Nadai, and I will be your host today. And today we are having, like I said before, our traditional AJA. And for those who are new here, what does traditional AJA means? It means that today our co-founder and formulator here, Julianne Lee, will be answering all your questions about your beloved fur family. Yay! So don't be shy, and as you know, ask Julie anything. But before we start, I want to remind you about some housekeeping rules. Please switch your chat to everyone so we can all join in the conversations. Use the Q&A box below to ask your questions. The questions will be answered in order, first come, first served, and we will do our best to cover everything. I just want to say also that today we only have Emily in the back helping us answering some of the questions. So please be extra gentle to us. As I said, we will try to reply all the questions. And finally, the most important thing of all, this session provides a judgment-free space with only the health and happiness of our animals and the planet being our core goal. So, without further ado, I know you all here for her. So, Julianne Lee, it's with you.
Thank you. I just looked at I was just looking at a chat and someone put a a question in it like really early on, like 8:02. But they probably didn't know that it should go in the question box, maybe.
Let me see if it's here.
There's two questions. Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of questions actually in the chat.
Yeah.
Um, and they should go
Oh,
into the
so Brienne is Brienne's question that we're talking about, our 15-year-old mini schnauzer that you were
um,
mentioned, because it's here in the
yeah.
Q&A too. Okay.
Oh, is it? And the
Yeah,
other one, and on Andrea N.
Andrea, and let me check.
Okay.
Yes, it's
Anyways,
here too.
we can. Okay, awesome. Yay. All
I
right.
hope,
Well,
yeah. Okay.
we
Do you
can
want
get
to
going.
say some words or maybe explain why you
Um,
are using this
well,
backdrop?
oh yeah, I know. It's still, why am I using the backdrop? I
Yeah.
still have the backdrop on because my house is under construction and I'm in my living room.
No, I was meant for you to
So
say
you're
to talk about
saying,
viral
oh,
defense.
I know, I know. This is for, I bet you everybody that's on this has probably known that though, that we just launched a super exciting product called Vital Defense, an amazing cellular targeting a supplement that hopefully helps to support our animals to live longer and healthier. And lots of research has gone behind it. We're going to probably do another webinar on some of the research that comes out probably the middle to end of March. Um, but yeah, so I still have the background for that, but it was perfect because uh, I'm in my living room and I said I feel like I'm in an antique store because the upstairs of my house is being painted, so everything from upstairs is in my living room. So I'm surrounded by all this furniture. So it's good that that's on there. All right. So I hope everybody's really good. And uh yeah, let's start because
Let's
I'm sure there's
start.
of them. Yeah.
Yes. It's been a while since we did the last AJA regular one. So,
I
yes.
know.
Carly Walters is asking here, hello, this question is about skin disease. There is so much to say, and I apologize in advance if I say too much, even as I try to keep it brief. I found my sweet boy soul in the desert on the morning of the solar eclipse in 2017. He was with his little pack of brothers and sister, with mama and papa perhaps in the distance. We scooped up three of them, and he made it obvious to me we were meant to travel the next chapter of our lives together. He was struggled with skin issues since May 2019, just shy of 2 years old. His first episode was after playing in a well manicured yard in Missouri. We were living in Colorado, and when we returned home, his red, inflamed belly persisted, and he also had a bad reaction on his face.
Mhm.
I took him to the vet, and reluctantly, I gave him the prescribed prednisone and antibiotics, and ultimately opened for the Cytopoint shot. While living in the mountains of Colorado, on one Cytopoint shot seemed to do the job. His belly never reacted again. The main problem spot was his paws along. Let me see if I find
I think it's along with the redness around his mouth.
around his mouth and itchiness under his chin and occasional irritation in his ears, but not infections. He was also had some joint problems that started about 6 months after his first skin episode and has always had shaky hind legs even as a puppy. We moved to Salt Lake City in October 2020. This was a difficult move for him in every way, environmentally, socially, and recreationally. It was also an especially difficult time for me emotionally, which of course impacted him a great deal. With the warmer winters, he started to need Cytopoint twice a year. We managed we managed with that and tried to navigate the difficult transition. Last year, things took a turn. In March, he got an ear infection that seemed to come out of nowhere. His paws were also really bad for the time of year. For that time of year, the vet prescribed an antifungal. I declined antibiotics, and he received cytopoint shot. Things just got worse after that, so I stopped the antifungal. I started to find little crusty spots, first concentrated on, oh my God,
I know.
on then along his spine, and his tail was completely encrusted. His ear infection came back. We went back to the vet, did a round of antibiotics for staph infection on his skin, which started to return as soon as the antibiotics were finished. We had some very uncomfortable visits at the vet, but she informed me there is a holistic vet in the area, which I didn't find on my many searches from when we first arrived. While waiting 5 weeks for our appointment, his condition got worse. He lost his undercoat and dropped from 70 pounds to 47 and
Wow.
was absolutely miserable. During this time, I was trying all of the things. He had been on a raw diet since June prior to this episode, and before that, he was on carnivore dry nuggets. I also did animal biome and tried their fecal matter transplant pills, which seemed to be way too much for him. Let's see if that's, I think that's the, oh, I have a lot more I wrote, so sorry. I will post the rest of my question comes up. If my question comes up, she said, then maybe you can ask some questions to her.
Yeah. And which should she put it in the chat maybe if I have questions?
Yes.
Okay. So as everybody uh has heard this, I mean it's not it's horrible. The part that shouldn't say upset me the most, but that's is the most concerning is that massive weight loss. Like that's very concerning. Um, but I would hope that your vet has been doing like thyroid tests and doing blood tests and looking at, all different kinds of things. I'm not sure I guess she will have to put in the chat whether or not they've done a food reaction, if they've done anything with Gene Dodds to find out what he's reacted to with his food or sensitivities with his food. So, Carly, if you could put
She's
waiting for
waiting
the
for the results.
results. Yeah. Okay. So that's gonna tell you, at least what to stay away from when, um, while you're trying to heal whatever's going on. But I this must be really awful to watch for your dog, and I think that skin disease is one of the hardest things to watch. So, you have my sympathy. But I need to just say, so that I think you need a little bit support, and it's very hard because if you don't have a holistic vet, which you do now, which is amazing, like awesome. But if you don't have the support, it's really hard to navigate this at the best of time, let alone if you don't have the support of your vet to look at different things. So what you're explaining to me here, I've heard a million times where the minute that you use any kind of immune suppressive drugs, like you did Pred, and then you've done Cytopoint, and I'm not sure what antifungal that you used, but when you do that, it ultimately, I would say more often than not, things just progress and get worse and worse and worse. And then what winds up happening is it deeply affects their whole sort of balance of the way that their cells function, the way that their gut functions, the way that everything functions. And I would say, definitely gut trauma, like without a doubt, there's gut trauma there, especially with all the drugs and stuff that he's been on. But when you like at the very bottom when you said like he's losing weight and um I just wanted to read one as soon as yeah, so he lost his undercoat, he's miserable, like you can start seeing that this is just not his coat anymore, right? This is no longer skin disease. It's manifesting as skin disease, but you don't lose that much weight just with skin disease now. So that's what I wanted to say. A lot of times, like animal biome is amazing, but when they've got really, really bad leaky gut syndrome, or when they're really sick, the sometimes the transplant pills can be too much, way, way too much for them because their body almost reacts to them as if the transplant is a true transplant, right? Like if someone has a heart transplant or somebody has a they often put you on an immune suppressive drug so that your bodies don't reject it, right? So when they're very, very sick, they will often reject stuff like this. Um, so if for what it's worth, you didn't really ask me any specific questions, but if I was looking at this dog or just trying to give you some support in this, I mean, my very first thing would be to ask your vet to do a full blood panel and thyroid test. And then I would um, ask them if they can, um, as hard as this is to hear, when I look at all of this stuff, we would wind up putting animals like this back on prednisone and getting them sort of balanced. And pred to me is one of the, I mean, it's intense, but it in my experience of what I've seen compared to Cytopoint or Atopica or any of those, it is the least systemically damaging. I mean, it can be difficult on their liver, yes, but I find that it's a closer replication of something almost hormonal, like something that our bodies, produce anyways, right? Like cortisone and things like that. So
Julie, sorry to interrupt. She's saying
yeah.
that he is in a week into the ECB's protocol, and she's giving him 5 milligrams of prednisone to help with his rebound of symptoms.
Okay, great. So he's on prednisone. What else did she say? What is he on? Yeasty beast? What?
Yeasty
Oh,
Beast.
yeast. Uh, uh,
She said here in the in the chat,
it's
like
out to
he
ton
he
while
is
he's
in
on.
a week
Yeah.
into the Yeasty Beast protocol, and
I just
also prednisone 5 milligrams.
Yeah. So just be careful. Like I can guarantee he's probably gonna need Yeasty Beast. Not sure if that's the one I would have chosen first, and only because he's so sensitive. Um, and then you're asking if you should switch to leaky gut. To be really honest, what I think you should do with him is put him on liver tonic. Well, you know what? You could switch to the leaky gut protocol. Yes. Yeah, you definitely could do that. But I would add something like Vital Defense, or I would add, because it does have liver tonic in. He's for sure. Oh, he's been on Phyto. He's been on that Phyto twice a day. Okay, good. So right now, and before used to, he was on Phyto's Flora. All right. So I think that let's find out if he's allergic to beef. And I would, if he's not, if beef isn't a high reactive um, uh, sensitivity, I would actually put him on some positive immunity. Um, and then I think what we should do with this so that we're not taking up the whole hour is if Emily or someone can cut and paste her questions, and then tomorrow send them to customer service, and then have customer service send them to me, because I feel like, Carly, you're like, this isn't going to be your typical case. And I think that we can, when this is a very, for people that are listening, I'm sure there's lots of people that maybe don't have it this bad, but does have it. Um, this would be something that I would do a lot of rotation with, so that you're doing it so gently. Like, you could put them on the leaky gut protocol for 2 weeks, and then you could go into uh like positive immunity, and then you could go into, you've already got phytophthora, and then you could move into vital defense. But you're going to have lots of different products, but you're not going to spend more money, because what's going to happen is you're going to rotate through them very, like, in 2 week intervals. So so like, I'm not saving, but you're not using all the protocol up, and you're not using all the vital defense up, and you're actually going to be rotating them, so that uh we're gently giving a tug to his immune system. We're looking at the integrity of the gut lining for leaky gut, because I'm sure he probably has that. But we're going to try and gently move him through this. And phytophthora would be something that you're definitely going to rotate, because of the humic and fulvic acid, when he's going to stay on pred. But what I would highly, highly suggest is never taking him off liver tonic, making sure that he stays on liver tonic 2 to 3 times a day, even. Um, Definitely to support his liver through this. But send all this stuff to customer service. But I did want to touch on this for people that are watching. Um, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of cases like this, because there's nothing, like, if nobody can help you, right? And you're looking to conventional medicine, because it's the only person that can truly help you when you have such a sick dog. Um, it really is a matter of just the layering, right? Like, pushing it down and pushing it down and pushing it down, and then it rebounds back, and it rebounds back worse. So it all makes sense, Carly. So don't get too freaked out about this. Um, the other thing that might really be helpful is if you contacted Andrea Ring, a colleague of mine, and she could give more specific homeopathic remedies to really, really target everything very specifically to your dog, I would probably do that. And yeah, just send it in, and it's not anything that I haven't seen before. And it's very everything that you're saying is very common of um suppressive skin disease. It just because it goes deeper and deeper and deeper rather than it going, suppressing the symptoms go away and then the disease goes away. That never happens. Every time you give a cytopoint, every time you give an immune suppressive drug, you are actually making the disease worse and deeper into more of a chronic disease, like very chronic disease. But it's not your fault because, no one can stand around and watch their dogs, chew their skin off, and that's literally what some of them do. So, please don't beat yourself up for that, and let's get him on a protocol. And I would reach out to Andrea. I really would, because I feel like he needs, remedies like carcinosin, and he's going to need low potency nux vomica, and probably, sulfur, and so like he's going to need a bunch of different remedies to support him through his drugs, support him through his itch, support his cortisol levels, support probably like the emotional suffering he's going through by being so itchy, and she'll be able to address all that too. So I would definitely do that.
Amazing. Thank you, Julie. Brian is asking here, a few years ago on a podcast with Karen and Rodney from the Inside Scoop, you mentioned Finecto Plus as an herbal flea and tick preventative. I imported it from Holland and a couple from Holland a couple of years ago, but my vet wasn't keen on it since it can't be given to cats and it didn't have a listed ingredient breakdown. What do you currently recommend for flea and tick prevention? Ticks are a big problem in my area, and my current preventatives aren't nearly 100% effective. One of my two dogs has already contracted Lyme. I would really appreciate your insights.
So, you know what? I don't know whether you guys remember it. Do you remember me giving you a name of a company that does tick stuff, that she's in Maine? I can't remember her name now. So poor customer service tomorrow. They're gonna get like blasted. But if you, Emily, if you can remind me tomorrow to find that phone number, and Brian, if you can reach out to customer service, and I'll get that number for you, that name and number. It's actually internal. It's not external. Um, it's an internal, it's very, very, very cool. I'm trying to get it here for my animals, but she's having a hard time getting it across the border to me. But I'm going to put my whole farm on it in the spring. But it's an internal one that, it doesn't stop them from getting bitten, but it helps to derail the bacteria and the virus and the protozoa and the whole ugly mess of things that happen. And so it's like a prophylactic, an internal prophylactic for Lyme. So that's what I would do. Like I said, contact customer service, and we should have it anyways because I think that I've heard it's really, really good. I've heard amazing results. She's been doing it for 16 years. But as far as topical stuff, Wonderside is probably the one that is the least toxic and um, the most effective, I would say, especially for fleas. But someone just said something about bug off. I don't know what bug off. My dog has never had ticks, fleas, or mosquitoes even avoid him. Oh, that's interesting. Bug off. I think I might have heard of that, but I don't think we can get that here either. So someone just mentioned something called bug off, and I don't know. Um, I'm not sure. I can't speak to that one, but I also know that I have used Wonderside, and like I said, it's not without, some. maybe not real concern, but it's pretty strong essential oils. But I think it works really well. I think it works really well on fleas, and I've been spraying it on my animals this year because the ticks were really bad, and it did seem to help. So that, and along with, what I still do, which I think really helps, because especially for long hair coat animals, is you just take some water, you put it in a spray bottle, and you put 2 ounces in a how big is a plant spray bottle? How many ounces is that? I don't know. Like a regular plant spray bottle, maybe like a liter, maybe something like that. Um, and a liter of water, 2 ounces of lemon juice, and a tablespoon of a good oil, like a grapeseed oil, or an oil that they use for, like, that you can use on your skin, like a nice oil that you would use on your skin. It could even probably be um, uh, uh, fractionated coconut oil, but what that does, it doesn't, the lemon kind of deters them, but what it does is it makes like this, and you shake it up really, really well and you spray it on. It makes their coat kind of slippery. So when the ticks are trying to they try to quickly get up the hair coat and in bed, it's harder for them. They actually kind of slip off of the dog, or horse or cat or whatever. And then the minute you get home, you just take a flea comb, so the really, really fine, fine flea comb, and you comb them. And often you'll get even tiny, tiny ticks because they can't quickly get up the like that's just like an extra step in prevention. It's just making it harder for them to grab a hold of the hair and move up and in bed so quickly.
Great, thank you.
A lot of
Hey,
people were putting stuff in the chat.
I asked them to put in the Q&A. I can ask again.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people, no, no, I mean, a lot of people were recommending stuff in the chat
Ah,
that
okay,
they,
sorry. I thought
yeah,
you were
I
saying.
think someone said something about Rob Silver recommended something. I can't find it now. Yeah. And, Bug Off, that's another one. But I thought I saw something about Rob Silver, but maybe I didn't. Um, I try not to watch that too much or I get distracted. But the other thing that's good too, is in high tick season, a homeopathic remedy called Leadum. Um, my animals, it goes in my horse's water bucket. It goes in my the outside water buckets. It goes into my cat dishes, my dog dishes. Um, it's a homeopathic remedy called Leadum, and it's been well documented that it helps to mitigate animals getting, or people and animals getting Lyme. I saw someone write, shouldn't be reading this. I make a Leadum spray for my dogs. That's good. I make my own Nozo from local ticks. Wow, that's pretty cool. Um, Rob Silver recommends turkey tail mushrooms. Well, anything, and that's true. So Lyme, I had Lyme, and so I'm kind of versed in Lyme, being really sick from it, and it's all about your immune system. Like there are dogs and horses and people walking around with Lyme disease and absolutely like no symptoms at all. And they may never get the symptoms. Because their body has the ability to ward off the infection. So uh keeping the immune system as healthy as you possibly can, starting with really good gut health and using things like Rob Silver said, things like turkey tail and um, uh, phytoplankton and cellular defense for sure. And, everything, positive immunity, you know, rotating, keeping the liver clean. The best way to avoid Lyme is to make your body able to fight it, as soon as it gets it. Because I do know, I had a horse with it this year as well, and none of the didn't have any more ticks on him than everybody else, but he got it. And the rest of the herd, were fine and they never got, any more, any less. So, and he does have like he's got a sarcoma, so I'm treating him for cancer, and he's got like so he's a little bit more vulnerable to it. So yeah, there's and definitely reach out to us tomorrow. I mean, anyone that's watching right now, reach out to us tomorrow, and or maybe we can somehow just put it on Facebook or something, the name of that place that has the Lyme protocol. Because I'm gonna try, I can't speak to it that if it works or doesn't work, but it sounds very impressive. And she uses a lot of the herbs that my naturopath used for me. So, and I know how well that worked. So I'm gonna give it a try and put all my animals on it.
Amazing. Thanks, Julie. HH is asking here, hi, my always healthy cat has been having feline acne for 2 months now. May I know anything I can do? Thank you. I never heard about feline acne.
Acne.
Yeah.
Common, actually. So first thing that I would say is our Felix Flora would be something that I would definitely use. And along with feline acne with cat, I always feel like anything with cats has a very strong emotional component. So when I would be working with, like I worked with the largest cat rescue in Vancouver. We were their main vet clinic, and uh, I would say that every single cat that came into my practice, I would always address their mental emotional state. No matter what was wrong with them, I did that because I feel like cats are very misunderstood. Um, I think because they're not as demanding as dogs, they kind of get their needs sometimes just get not ignored intentionally, just maybe not as aware, you know? So for feline acne, there's a really good homeopathic remedy, a wonderful homeopathic remedy called Natmur, Natrum muriaticum. Maybe Emily can put it in the chat. It's called Natrum muriaticum, and Natrum, and then MU, and then another word M, capital MUR. If you could get a 200C in that, yep, that's right, Emily. So 200C, and do it twice a day for a week, and get him on Felix Flora, or him or her, um, uh, Felix Flora, and liver tonic, and either Vital Defense or Phytosynergy. I would actually choose Phytosynergy for that specific one when you're just starting out. And I don't know what you're feeding your kitty, but if you're feeding him kibble, that would be the first thing that I would start to slowly take him off of kibble and put him on a really good raw food diet if you can get him on it. But it's got to be slow. Like with cats, I always recommend if they're on dry, I always recommend doing a can always on cooked chicken. That's what he's eating. Okay, so if it's just straight cooked chicken, are you sure that it's a balanced diet? Like maybe this kitty's lacking in some minerals or lysine. Lysine is one that can be very helpful, a nutraceutical called lysine. And you just want to make sure that this cooked chicken has everything that it needs, especially like taurine, freeze dried. Oh, where is it? What's he saying? Freeze dried.
Freeze-dried turkey and duck and supplements.
Oh, good. Okay, so that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. Um, So yeah, I would try that's if he's on a really good freeze-dried food with supplements, that's awesome. So gut health, our Felix Flora has the only species specific feline probiotic in the world, and it's incredible. So I would your kitty on that. Liver tonic to be sure that you're flushing the toxins, nat mirror, and phytosynergy. That's what I would do. Okay, I think you're muted.
I'm so sorry. I was trying to find the button.
Okay.
We have an anonymous question here, anonymous attendee. So, our 8-year-old male neutered dog has a few new behaviors that we are concerned with. He trembles only when his food is out of the fridge and being prepared before breakfast and dinner. He humps a human leg after his dinner, unprovoked and not after breakfast meal, then licks his privates for a while, and he also has a single hackle mid-spine that has been stuck up constantly for about a month. We have an appointment scheduled with our vet and would like to know if you have any thoughts on what we should ask our vet to look or test for.
Mm. Huh. So, yeah, I mean,
Wondering if the breakfast meal is the same as the dinner meal, since the behaviors are a little bit different from one time to the other. Don't know if it
mhm.
means anything.
Well, the hackles being like when I look at this, I think of hormonal. That's one of the first things that I think of. Hormonal. I think of maybe pancreatic pain or stomach pain. Um, I think of, especially with his hackles being up, like I've seen hackles be up with dogs that have chronic pancreatitis. Or I've even seen them hunch. And sometimes, when they hump, it's sort of like a endorphin release for pain. So I would get them to do uh check his thought, like do a full blood panel, clearly, like make sure you do a thyroid test. But I would have them do a specific test to see what his pancreas is doing, and his prostate. I would look at his prostate. Um, but that, yeah, a full blood panel, check his all his enzymes, do like a specific canine pancreas test, and check his prostate. Those would be the things that I would be thinking about. Because, to me, it could be like he wants to eat, he's getting excited, but he's also knows like he's hungry, but he knows it's gonna hurt after he eats, so he's in this place of I want to eat, but it's also gonna hurt. I don't know. It's very, very interesting. But those are the things that I would be looking at. And then uh I would also see if you can find a osteopath as well. Like if everything comes back normal, like his pancreas comes back, his liver enzymes come back, everything comes back completely normal. I would think about also in his prostate's normal. I would seriously think about speaking to an osteopath because all those are related, right? Like the back and the sex hormones and the pelvis and the prostate and the penis, it's all like the sexual organs are all very, very closely related. But then I've seen pancreas pain really affect their backs and get them and they shake before they eat and things like that. So yeah, that'd be, and then let us know. I know it's an anonymous attendee, but I would really love it if you could send a thing into customer service and ask them to send it to me when you find out what's going on, for sure. But in the meantime, I don't know when is your vet? I have an appointment with your vet scheduled. Um, things like right now, I don't know what you've got him on, and maybe we shouldn't even start him until they find out what's wrong. But what you could give him though is something called our go-to, which is aconite and arnica in it. So stress, aconite would be helpful for any kind of like hormonal, intense hormonal thing that's happening. in that moment. Arnica is really good for pain. So, you could give him some, you know, about an hour before you feed him, you could give him a dose of go-to each time, and then maybe give it to him before bedtime as well.
Thanks, Julie. Brian is asking here, our 15-year-old mini schnauzer is definitely exhibiting signs of sundown syndrome, dementia. Mainly, she has changed her sleep cycle every night to waking up at night almost every hour, sleeping mostly during the day, and aimlessly wandering at times. We are exhausted. She had a geriatric vestibular disease episode about 8 months ago. She has been taking the ABA Vital Defense and liver tonic. She's also been on
Ursodiol.
ursodiol for over 2 years for her liver and gallbladder sludge. She's been on a raw diet and serves pet food for about 10 years and takes their fermented goat milk and fermented fish stock. What other herbs or supplements would you recommend to help her with her cognitive issues, mainly her sleep patterns at night? Thank you. So, and he put a note here. This all happened suddenly and not get gradually after she had dental work done about a year ago, and I am 100% certain the anesthesia she was under caused some brain damage resulting in her dementia symptoms.
Yeah, I would agree, but not necessarily just the anesthetic. I've seen working with their TMJ cause stuff like this. Um, older older animals getting dentals are to me so scary. I've seen so many things like this happen after dentals. I can't even tell you, like so many. And it's the way that they're turning their head. They can get so quickly, their middle ear can get damaged really quickly with dentals. It's yeah, it's upsetting how many they do. You do have to worry, 15 years old. Is the bacteria so bad it's showering on their heart valve, or is their mouth so painful that they can't eat? Like there are always like weighing the odds. But dental, extractions and putting them under a general anesthetic at that age, it's unfortunate that vets make people think that it's just a real easy thing. It's not. It's not. It's very, very, very hard on them. So, saying that, do you have a piece of paper? Because there's a bunch of things I would recommend. Um, Sherry does host. There is a dental. Okay. Um, that's true. I don't know what that's saying, but it is true. If you have an old animal, dog or cat that needs dental work, spend the extra money and take them to a dentist, an actual board certified dental surgeon. They usually have an anesthesiologist working with them, and they are very meticulous and experienced about how to move their necks and their jaws and they're in and out really fast. So the dentals don't last as long, like they're not under a general anesthetic as long. But Brian, we're in this place with her now. And what I would do is I'm going to tell you some homeopathic remedies that I would recommend that you would go out and get. You can get our go-to. That would be the first thing that I would get is I would order the go-to. And then I would buy phosphorus, um, 30C, and I would give that to her 3 times a day for 2 weeks. Um, Actually, you know what? She's 15 years old and she's this sick. I would give it to her 3 times a day, ongoing for a month. And if she's doing really well, I would just keep giving it to her. I would give her Nux vomica, 30C, and I would do that 3 times a day for maybe 2 weeks. But that's all. Then I would buy a remedy called Burita carbonicum, and Emily may not know how to spell that one. It's Burita, Burita, I think it's B-A-Y. Emily, can you look it up? Burita. It's either B-A-R-T-Y, I think, Burita, and then carb, C-A-R-B. It is specifically for dementia, and I've worked a lot with dogs and cats with dementia and use that remedy, and it's been quite successful. Uh, when their liver is not functioning, they can get secondary cognitive issues with their liver. So I would put her on liver tonic, and I would give her liver tonic 4 times a day for maybe 3 weeks, and then I would do it 3 times a day ongoing. Um, and I'd put her on the from a gut perspective, I would put her on our wolf probiotic because we're doing more and more research with that with the gut brain axis, like specifically the bacteria helping the brain. And CBD oil. Sometimes CBD oil can help calm them down at night. But just before she goes to sleep, you should be like the go-to and the phosphorus should just be given nonstop 3 times a day. But I would give her the go-to maybe if she needs it, give it to her just before you go to sleep. And then if she gets up and she starts being restless, you could give it to her again. But burrito carb, when you can get burrito carb, I would be giving her burrito carb again 3 times a day, 30C. Give it to her 3 times a day. Um, and do that for 2 weeks, let's say. If you see improvement after 2 weeks, go to twice a day. And if she's still improving or maintaining, go to once a day. And you'll see. You'll see if no, 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 I got to give it to her 3 times a day or she gets up every single night. Or I can give it to her in the afternoon and the evening and then she'll sleep through the night. Whatever he's saying it's she's only 5 pounds. That's fine. These are all homeopath like when I'm talking about the burrito carb and phosphorus and stuff, those are homeopathic remedies. And it doesn't matter if she's 5 pounds or 500 pounds. The the way you dose it is in repetition, and I'm giving you really low doses of everything. Like I'm recommending like 30 C's and things like that. That's very low. So that would be something. The other thing is you could reach out to my colleague Andrea Ring. She's got tons and tons of experience with this as well. But the approach I'm looking at is to try and detox her body still from the anesthetic. And then I'm trying to look at cognitive issues with the wolf and injury, potential injury to the vestibular or we're looking at that. And then the gut brain access and then detoxification from that anesthetic because sometimes that stays in the system like very, 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 very long term. So the Nux vomica and the phosphorus will really help with that. And then the phosphorus will support her brain and her liver. So, you know, for things like that, well, to me, homeopathy is like the number one modality of medicine in the world. I don't think there's anything that can touch it other than if you have to have surgery or a broken leg and, clear, and then I still would do homeopathy with it. But yeah, I try not to lose hope. I've seen pretty crazy things. Animals recover, especially when there's such a strong correlation with her getting this after her dental. Hopefully, and an osteopath. That's another thing. She could have, had her head tilted a certain way that there's an impingement of oxygen to her brain. Um, an osteopath would be able to do like cranial sacral work on her. There's lots and lots of things. If she's, if she's healthy, kind of healthy in every other than she's 15, um, there should be things that you can do. So, don't give up hope. That's for sure.
Amazing. Thank you, Julie. Alexandra here is asking, hello, is renal lymphoma most likely to be a result of GI lymphoma or kidney damage by environmental toxins like smoke, detergents, etc., or vaccines?
Hmm. All of the above. Uh, um, is this a cat? Can she write down in the thing if this is a cat? Yeah. So, my take on lymphoma, um, like I kind of look at all of this and see the same thing. Anyone that heard me talk about my take on cancer, is that, it's kind of a result of a non of something chronically happening that is either suppressed or kind of ignored not ignored by a pet parent, ignored where there hasn't been the tools to actually address the chronic symptom at a very, very deep level. So to answer your question, is it most likely to, it could be, I mean, I've seen smoke, I've seen like, I don't know about detergent so much. Vaccines, yeah, I over vaccinations, I think it's one of the number one reasons for chronic disease. Um, and then when you get this accumulation effect that I talk about, where the kidneys can get damaged by vaccines, the kidney can get damaged by an environmental toxin, the GI can get damaged by environmental toxins or a vaccine or smoke or anything that causes massive free radical, the abundance of like too much free radical and oxidative stress. So, I don't know if um, if you're just asking me that or asking me what you can do if your cat has renal lymphoma. But from a perspective, if you're just asking me, can it be a result of? It can be a result of all of those or a combination of an accumulative effect of all of them. So, small doses of smoke, small doses of environmental, environmental toxins. What is she saying down here? I'm just trying to figure out how to, oi, what is she? I can't
Prevent
find
it, what to focus on, and what to prioritize.
prioritize. Okay. So your are you because one of my cats died from, oh yeah, okay.
Hmm.
So I would be using Vital Defense then. To be honest, I would be using Vital Defense and because it's a cat liver tonic. And, if you're trying to support the body, that's what Vital Defense is all about. Vital Defense is about um focusing on giving the body really what it needs to help to neutralize free radicals, decrease oxidative stress, derail chronic systemic inflammatory response. It's specifically for targeted for cell health and any kind of cancer, any kind of massive chronic disease affects, where does it start? It usually starts, you know by cell damage wherever that is, whether it's in the liver, whether it's in the heart, whether it's in the brain, the gut, the cells of the mucosal lining of the gut, like the list goes on and on. So I would do that, and you would don't have to if you're trying to just, keep one eye on chronic disease. Then for a kitty that if you're really trying to prevent disease as much as you can, good food that doesn't have preservatives and is as unprocessed as you possibly can, like raw food or a really, really good freeze-dried food. Um, Staying away from dry processed food as much as you possibly can. Giving things like, rotating something like Vital Defense with our turkey tail mushroom with definitely a probiotic. I would have, my cats are on probiotics every single solitary day, and they're on Felix Flora. And then sometimes I put them on Soil and Sea, and I'll alternate them. But if you want something easy for kitties, liver tonic, because it really supports the kidneys. Felix Flora for the for gut health, and then alternate things with like Vital Defense, alternate that with turkey tail, phytosynergy. Yeah, just keeping their cells as healthy as possible, keeping their gut as healthy as possible, so that they can deal with the challenges of exactly what you said, smoke, environmental toxins. But the vaccine bit, that's something that you can navigate, right? You don't have to, I don't know whether I don't know if your cat's an indoor cat or it goes outside, but don't get talked into over vaccinating your animal. I don't know how old your cat is, but when you look at the risks versus benefits with vaccines in an older animal, a healthy animal can ward off a lot of really, really, the body knows how to deal with viruses and bacterias and things like that.
Amazing. Thank you, Julie.
Welcome.
Erin is asking, hello, this is a wonderful thing you guys are doing. Thank you, Erin. Curious if you could talk about sebaceous adenomas and how to treat.
Sebaceous adenoma,
Sebaceous, sorry.
where are you looking at this?
It's
Where is
right
it?
below the Alexandra's question,
Oh, right
isn't
here.
it?
Sebaceous adenomas and how you can treat them. Um, so I think that this speaks to, sebaceous adenomas are, a lot of times they get taken out, and they're not really dealt with, like what's causing them. How do we get down to the core thing with this? So I think that for sebaceous adenomas, I would do the same thing. I would look at it as trying your hardest to decrease uh, oxidative stress, right? Chronic inflammation. When I did I don't know how many of you guys were on our Vital Defense launch, but if you don't know this is something that's very, very, very important to take away, no matter whether you have a cat, a dog, a horse, children. It doesn't really matter. But when we're faced with, you know, stuff in our food, right? So our food not being as clean as it used to be 70 years ago, pesticides, glyphosates, Roundup, the list goes on and on and on. And then we have pollution in the air, we have stressors. There's a lot of things that the body has to deal with on a regular basis that creates the free radicals and oxidative stress. And then when that happens, it creates inflammation. And then when that happens, it starts to uh, create this sort of really vicious circle that what happens if you aren't dealing with the free radical damage and oxidative stress, and then the inflammation comes, and then the disease comes, then the disease actually creates more free radicals to develop. So more oxidative stress. It creates their own free radicals. So um dealing with that cycle of it going round and round and round is where you want to go when you have something like a sebaceous adenoma, when you have something like Cushing's disease, when you have something like renal disease. Um, you want to try and target to decrease the oxidative stress, to neutralize the free radical damage, and to slow down, mitigate, try and derail that chronic inflammatory response that causes the chronic disease and then creates the whole thing to start all over again. And the way you do that is with high potency antioxidants, things like Vital Defense, which is specifically for that. It's made to target. Um, Really good quality food, super clean water, making sure that your water doesn't have fluoride in it and, it hasn't been demineralized and has all this, garbage in it. So really clean water and really good food and then gut health, right? So, um, species specific probiotics. So sebaceous adenomas, though, from a perspective of gut health, I would be doing like Phytophthora. And then I would finish one thing of Phytophthora. Then I would go on a Soil and Sea. Then I would finish Soil and Sea. Then I would go on the Wolf. Then I would finish the Wolf. And then I would go back to Phytophthora. And I would rotate through those three probiotics specifically in order to create the most beneficial bacteria in the postbiotic effect in your dog's gut. So, again, there's lots of things you can do, and if they have to take it out, if they say to you, we want to remove it, by doing all the stuff that I was just saying, you have a stronger resiliency. You've created a stronger resiliency to try and derail more of them, right? Like for another one to develop or for the body to be able to heal that area. I'm not sure they are small and all over his body. Okay. Yeah, so that's actually not uh such a bad, well, I'm not going to say that. But then knowing that, I just want to say one more thing. I think you should also go on liver tonic because you want to be able to clear the lymphatic system and uh, clear the lymphatic system, make sure that all of the organs are detoxifying correctly. And our liver tonic deals with gallbladder, liver, kidneys, and pancreas. So it supports all of them. So that's a really important thing too.
Thanks, Julie. Andrea is asking, my dog tends to have loose stools. The first two of the day is normal, but tends to get looser with subsequent bowel movements. Pump protectin secretory IgA and anti-gliadin IgA are normal. Pancreatitis has been ruled out. Zonulin is borderline, indicating some weakening in the gut lining. She has also low fasting cobalamin and is folate deficient. She has been on probiotics for several months. Slippery elm and marshmallow help somewhat. Vet suggested supplementing with cobalamin and folate. What else would you recommend?
I recommend putting her on a SIBO diet. So, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth um, is very often confused with um, diarrhea, pancreatitis, GERD, lots of different things like that. So you can Google and I think maybe Judy Morgan I don't know if I think Judy Morgan maybe has a you can get a diet. You can look up diets for SIBO. And I would suggest so what I would suggest is once is that the same person? No, it's not. I don't know. And is she on a probiotic? Can you just put that in the chat whether she's on a probiotic or not? I wonder.
Let me see. Let me double check it. Yeah.
She here's still here.
Yeah, she
Oh
said
yes.
yes.
Phytos?
Fidos, I would say. Yeah.
Laura? Okay. Okay. So you know what I would do? I would look at the SIBO diet, then I would put her on um like definitely keep the phytos. But I would put her on soil and sea for a bit. Like I would do a jar of soil and sea and see how she does with that. I would definitely put her on liver tonic for sure. Now, you could I don't know if you've ever like slippery elm and marshmallow root help somewhat. If that's the case, I'm feeling like she should go on gut soothe for sure. Now, if you're saying that her gut lining could be weak, I'm sitting in the middle of SIBO or leaky gut syndrome, right? Which also could be. So you could actually put her on the leaky gut protocol. You could do, you could just go through the leaky gut protocol first and see, like I don't know what you're feeding her. But the um, SIBO diet has very specific rules around fiber. But, if you want to try just doing the protocol first, just going with the protocol and doing the protocol first, then I would move into and see how that does. Let customer service know how that's going. And then I would do soil and sea. Once the leaky gut protocol is finished, then I would do soil and sea and continue her on liver tonic. And then I would probably do soil and sea and vital defense. And put her on those two for a month. I don't know how big this dog is, but reading all of this, she could have leaky gut syndrome, and then we just really need to focus on the integrity of her gut lining. So if but when with the folate and like that sort of says to me that something's going on higher up in the small intestine, not the large. Like the large intestine is definitely affected, but I would say that there's probably something going on with the small intestine as well.
Thank you. D is asking how to raw feed a dog that's going through copper chelation therapy.
Mm. Be very careful with liver, right? Because liver can store copper. So you do have to be careful with liver. And red meats I don't know if your dog has allergies though, right? Like I don't know whether I'm not sure whether your dog has allergies or not, but if she none really. Okay, that's good. Good. So then I would stay more with like turkey, ostrich, um, the lighter meats if you're concerned about copper. That's what I would do. And you can always ask, like if you're I don't know if you're making it yourself or you're buying it, but you can also always ask for a certificate of analysis on what their copper levels are and just make sure that they're low, like as low as that you can you can have. Um, yeah, so I wonder what was wrong with. Be interesting to know how they found out that it's got a copper toxicity or too much copper.
Thanks, Julie. Danielle is asking, I was hoping to give my 13-year-old husky Boswellia serrata extract to help with hand, leg pain, and digestion. However, the one I found contains between 10 to 12% of maltodextrin. Would that be dangerous?
Well, I don't know if it's dangerous, but I wouldn't give, I definitely wouldn't give that much maltodextrin to my dog. That's for sure. You should be able to find those herbs. But have you tried Rita Hogan? Because I can guarantee she doesn't have 10 to 12% of maltodextrin in her herbal formulas. So maybe Emily can give you Rita Hogan's contact information and reach out to her for those herbs, and then you wouldn't have to worry at all that there's that much maltodextrin in it. I wouldn't give something that much maltodextrin.
Okay, thanks,
And
Julie. Oh, sorry.
and I don't know whether you've ever tried because it's real like our jump for joints is really, really amazing for joint pain, like incredible for joint pain. And you can give it you can give it 3, 4, 5 times a day and then slowly reduce it. But it's pretty magical. Yes, I do use jump for joints. Okay, good. And obviously an omega-3, you're using an omega-3 too. Um, Hopefully you're using some kind of omega-3s. And Rita's got some really great herbs. So I would reach out to her and she could probably make you a blend of exactly what you're looking for.
Fourth is asking, do dogs' stomach acids become less potent as they age, say over 8 or 9 years old? If so, how to increase the acids? I'm asking for their ability to continue to break down raw bone fragments before it heads down the GI tract.
Hmm. Um, well, they shouldn't. That's the that's the most accurate information or answer to that is they shouldn't. I mean, in the wild, they're chewing on bones and eating bones till they're very, very old. Um, I would, you know, you should, I think the best thing to do when if you're worried about that is just pay attention, right? So if all of a sudden um your dog you start seeing like if you're feeding bones, you should be able to track his poo, right? So I'm a big poop person. Like, what's the poop look like? What's the color? Does it have slime on it? Are there too big a chunks of, you'll be able to tell whether your dog's digesting a bone or not for 100 million%, because the first place it's going to show is in the poop. And I'm not a big, like, so long as they're not allergic to poultry, I really like uh soft bones as well, like necks. Chicken necks, turkey backs, chicken backs, not just big beef bones or deer bones or whatever you're using. I like to mix up my bones because that is also how they would be eating it. So if they ate a deer one day and then the next day they ate a pheasant and then the next day they ate a rabbit, they're getting different kinds of bones and each bone does something different. So um, smaller neck bones, things like that, really sort of get up and exercise the gum line. They work almost more like dental floss because when they bite into them, it wraps, like it goes behind their teeth and in front of their teeth, whereas when they're chewing on big bones, it's mainly the outside of their teeth. So I really like, I'm a big rotation person with everything from supplements to food to bones to everything. If you can rotate their bones is good too, but just watch his poop. Like seriously just watch their poop. And if you think that their poop is looking weird, I would look for I would look for slime. So if their poop is covered in sort of like a mucus, that can be an indication that there's starting to get inflammation in the gut to try and um, uh, protect the gut. Like if the bones are going through to not digest it enough, the gut will start to produce almost like a slime, and that's an indication that they're not breaking their bone down. Constipation is another like their poop getting too hard and too white and too chalky. Sometimes that's an indication that's also an indication that they're eating too much bone. But if they're eating the same amount of bone and all of a sudden that starts happening, that's an indication that they potentially can't break it down as well. Um, what else? Well, those would be the two main symptoms, or actually seeing big chunks, obviously, in their poop.
Thank you, Julie. Michelle is asking here, hello, I already use and have used several of your supplements, but I'm looking for advice on where to go next and also reassurance that I'm on the right track. My dog is an overseas rescue and is a double amputee, both front legs with residual stumps. He's approximately 8 years old and 42 pounds. He's not overweight and has a wheelchair. My main worries for him are inflammation, edema in his stumps, which is a regular occurrence, and his joints. He has recently begun to develop kidney issues, but nothing too serious as of yet. Currently, he's taking positive immunity, jump for joints, and liver tonic. He has also previously taken our chaga mushroom, turkey tail mushroom, and phytosynergy, but he is taking a breakdown from those at the moment. Is there such a thing as too many supplements? Should I continue as I am, and should I be giving him occasional breaks from what he's taking in? Would you recommend anything in addition to this current regimen or a different configuration? Many thanks for all. Thank you, Michelle, for your question.
Okay, so I'm gonna first of all say, oh my God, I bet you he's like the cutest thing. I'd love to see a picture of him. And thank you for rescuing a double amputee. That's a lot to take on, so that's amazing. Um, so let's just go through this as you've asked. So as far as like supplements go, I really like rotating. I think you probably just heard me say that. And I would never take them off of Jump for Joints, and I would probably never take them off of Liver Tonic. Those would probably be the two things that I would keep them on all the time. Everything else you can rotate. And so when you rotate, you don't have to worry that you're giving too much. And the way that I formulate our supplements is to sort of pay attention to different areas of the body, right? So the reason I said don't ever take them off of liver tonic is because liver tonic really helps the detoxification process. So, which then in turn helps with lymphatics, right? So you want to make sure that his lymph system is working properly. Um, so you could rotate, like you could put them on Vital Defense, and then after Vital, the other thing that I would keep them on all the time would be a probiotic. So liver tonic, a probiotic and jumper joints would be the three things that I would keep them on. And as far as the probiotic goes, if you're up for it, rotate your probiotics. Put them on the Wolf, and then put them on Soil and Sea, and then put them on Phytos Flora, and then put them on, Gut Soothe. Just rotate through them. Just it's not hard. You just use a jar and then go to a different one, the next jar that you purchase. You don't have to doesn't have to be this complicated mathematical analysis that you have to do or anything. And then rotate through turkey tail, and then go on to chaga, and then phytosynergy, and then back onto vital defense. You can just rotate through stuff. But what I would do with him, and I don't know if you do it already, but I would see if you could find, can he swim? Can you put that in the chat below? Can he swim? Have you ever done any kind of swimming with them? Well, is she still here?
Let me double. Yes. Oh no. Yes, she's still here. He can't swim as far as she knows.
Okay. Well, in most swim pools for dogs, they put life jackets on them anyways. So I would swim him. And that way he's not in a wheelchair, he's not in any kind of harness that stops the lymphatics in here, because that's probably where you're getting it, is because there's so many lymph nodes up underneath their arms. So, I would imagine having when you say that he's got a wheelchair, that he would have a lot of pressure on that area. So I would do two things that way, three things that way, actually. I would look at something called the Kayla Light, um, uh, Kayla red light therapy. It's a really, really good one. They've done all kinds of research with animals with it, and it's super easy to use. You can just buy a small one, and you can put it on a thing, and you just, while they're lying down, you just face it on them. That's incredible for lymphatics and healing and cellular energy and increasing collagen and all of that stuff. And then I would try to get them swimming. And then I would also look at osteopathy. I love osteopathy. So if there's an osteopath that can do some lymphatic work on him, and make sure that his neck's aligned and his shoulders are aligned and all of that stuff. And then learn the lymphatic drainage technique. Maybe you could ask an osteopath, or find out if there's a that's it, KAL. Um uh See if you can find a massage therapist to teach you some um lymphatic massage techniques. They're really light massage. You're hardly touching them. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do to help prevent, and he has done Reiki. Yeah, Reiki is good too, but sometimes lymphatics really need to be physically drained. So not just energetically drained, but physically drained. And that's what the swimming helps with too, right? Is him moving without that harness on that would impede his lymphatics and
Amazing.
tuning. Okay.
Thank you, Julie. Uh, I think I'm asking maybe the last two questions. What do you think?
Yeah, I also I saw something about a horse with I think oh,
Let me
what
see
did
if
I
I
see?
can find the horse. I think I saw the
With
question.
lymphangitis. I think it was had lymphangitis maybe.
I'm gonna ask the question here and then I'll try to find what you're trying to look for. Oh, do you have
Okay, so
anything for a horse with chronic? Yes, lymph.
lymphangitis. Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's just do that as a quickie after. We'll do this one here.
Okay, so Linda, my little poodle-ish 18-year-old dog is doing well, but she's developed Goopy Eye Drainage. Any advice for eliminating that? Thanks.
Um, hmm. Well, it's hard to know. I don't know what she's eating. 18 years old. Aw. I'm not sure what she's eating. Sometimes, it's diet related. Oftentimes it's something like an imbalance in the gut microbiome that can easily cause that. So I think the best thing, is she on a really good diet? That's one thing I would be looking at, making sure her gut is very well supported with a really good probiotic. For an 18-year-old dog, I probably, you know what? I think with this dog, I would start off with Gut Soothe, and then I would do Phytosflora. Then I'd go back to Gut Soothe, and I would do Phytosflora. I'd rotate through Phytosflora and Gut Soothe. And, you know, antioxidants. So vital defense, positive immunity, um, supporting an 18-year-old's dog liver, kidneys, pancreas, and um, is always helpful. So definitely a good probiotic, liver tonic, and maybe rotating through vital defense and maybe vital defense, turkey tail, and positive immunity. I would probably try that.
Thanks. And Yay Doll is saying here, my dog who is 9 just had high liver enzymes. Is liver tonic a good start? She is 15 pounds.
Yeah, definitely. Liver tonic and you know, uh, I must sound like a broken record, but everyone has to remember just a couple of things. It has to remember. It's very helpful to remember that there are some, quite the body works in synergy and there's a gazillion things going on at one time. And the one conductor to those gazillion things is the gut. So, liver enzymes can get elevated with leaky gut syndrome even if you've got dysbiosis and you've got a traumatized or inflamed interstitial lining of the gut, then the toxins and things that are supposed to be maintained in the gut leak through into the bloodstream and can cause the liver enzymes to be elevated because the liver enzymes are trying to clear out things that are in the blood that aren't supposed to be in the blood. So always make sure that you're looking at the gut integrity and making sure that the probiotics are that you have as much beneficial bacteria in the gut and as possible. So, putting him on high liver enzymes. Phytosflora would be good because it's got the fulvic and humic acid, which also helps detoxify things. So Phytosflora and liver tonic for sure, 100% is two things that you could start with. You could start with homeopathic remedy called phosphorus is very good, like a phosphorus 30C, you know, twice a day for 3 weeks and then or twice a day until you recheck their enzyme. I don't know how quickly they want to recheck their enzyme, if they want to do it in 3 months, if they want to do it in three weeks, a month, 3 months. I don't know how bad it is. But definitely liver tonic is a good start. And you can easily do liver tonic 3 times a day and not worry. So if there is an elevation in the liver already, you can do it more than twice a day. You can easily do it 3 times a day.
Great, thank you. And then that question about
Yeah,
the
was that in the
horse,
chat?
it was in the chat, yes. Do you have anything for a horse with chronic lymphangitis?
It is. Yeah. Well, I think, our equine gut soothe would be one of the first things I would recommend. So we have a horse line. So I would do for lymphangitis. I have have a horse that gets lymphangitis. I've worked with a lot of draft horses with lymphangitis. So I would do our equine gut soothe because it's got the equine species specific probiotics in it. And then we have an equine liver tonic. I would do that. I would do our equine turkey tail. I think we have an equine do we have equine turkey tail? I think so, don't we? I'm pretty sure we
I'm pretty sure yes.
think so,
Yes,
don't
we
we?
do. Yes.
And I would do that, and I would do jump for joints. Those would be, and then get a homeopathic remedy called Apis. So jump for joints because it's got the supportive remedies for like his hocks and everything that's affected also underlying with the lymphangitis. But it also has, high potency arnica in it, which is helps the tissue not, destruct or helps the tissue not to get too traumatized. And turkey tail and the probiotics and liver tonic to keep it, flushing. And then go and get a homeopathic remedy called Apis, Apis. And I would do probably a 30C Apis, and I would do it 3 times a day for maybe 2 weeks. I don't know how bad this lymphangitis is, for about 2 weeks, and then see how it is. And then you could go down to twice a day, see how it goes, and then you could go down to once a day, and then you could use it as needed. Um, again, lymphatic massage, learning how to do a lymphatic massage. Osteopathy, especially over their hips and their back is super helpful for lymphangitis, keeping them moving, getting them off of any sugar at all. So I don't know if you're feeding him grain or what you're feeding your horse, but don't feed him any grain, like at all. And do like a really good quality Timothy hay cubes, like well soaked Timothy hay cubes. Definitely no feed that's got molasses in it or no processed feed whatsoever. Um, yeah, that's where those are the things that I would start with. And let us know how your horse is doing. Send some information to customer service. Grains. What is this? What is grains to feed? Um, hold on.
Yeah, I
Anyways,
don't
I
know.
would.
Yeah, I don't know what.
That from her though?
Mm,
No. Okay.
not sure.
Um, anyways, yeah. So no sugar. So no sugar feeds, no processed food. You can get a really good dehydrated Timothy called Ontario. I don't know where you live, but I think they even ship to the United States, I think. I mean, right now it might be very difficult, but it's called it's actually dehydrated, so it's not even a processed cube. It's a dehydrated cube. But even if you can't get those, try to get a Timothy cube and not an alfalfa cube, clearly. And really, really soak it well and um, use that instead of grain for sure. And let customer service know because um, why no alfalfa? It's alfalfas really can be hot, right? It can be. So when you're thinking, I know you've heard of cooling meats and heating meats and things like that. For horses, alfalfa is like a heating meat. It's a it's a it's a hot grass compared to Timothy.
Thank you, Julie. It's getting really late now.
I
It's
know.
yeah, 9:36 for us here in the Atlantic coast. So I'm going to wrap up the webinar, and I know, guys, that there's a lot of questions still to be answered. And it has been a while since we have done this type of AJA with free questions. So we are doing more for those this year. And I want to say sorry for the people that didn't have their question answered today. I know how frustrating this can be. So if you can um, send us the question through our customer service, or you can also join our um, Facebook community at the Adore Beast Collective, because then a lot of people can help. Some people from our team can also help answering some questions there. I promise we will be helpful to you all. Sometimes we cannot answer everything here, but we always try our best. So I'm so sorry for that. Julie, I don't know if you want to say some.
Yeah, it's hard, right? It's really hard. I wish I could. We always say this after every single
Yeah.
one. We got to figure out a way how to get everybody's questions asked. I don't know how to do it. Like sometimes I feel like maybe just once a month we should do a half day webinar kind of thing.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
God.
Yeah, I know. It would be a lot. Well, it wouldn't be much more work than this. It would just be a very long half day of
Yeah.
answering questions. But uh yeah, it is. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I'm going through the questions that even as you were talking to say goodbye, um, trying to, to see if I could answer really fast ones, like a 20-month-old standard poodle that's not been fixed yet, have mixed feelings. Like, it's pretty simple. If it's a really well behaved, very docile, feminine almost poodle, my dog, I never fixed my dog, but then I lived out in the country. I didn't ever have to worry about it. But what I do want to say quickly to this is that, if you choose to not not fix your dog, sometimes you have to make sure that your dog can be really great, but other dogs can be really weird to dogs that aren't fixed. Like other dogs will attack a dog that's not fixed because it's more unusual. Um, so you just have to watch that and weigh the odds of, are you gonna have to limit your dog's ability to go out and socialize and have fun if it's not fixed. It's a very personal thing. Um, like I said, I didn't neuter Henry, and I also didn't neuter Della. Both are really big dogs, and because of osteosarcoma and stuff like that. But I wound up having to spay Della because she got a pyometra, and Henry I never did. But if you decide to do it, like I don't know if I would ever do it again. I think I probably would neuter another male dog if I got it, but later, like 20 months, 20 months, that's good. But then make sure you try really hard to support the sex hormones. So Andrea, I keep talking about Andrea. Um, we used to sell a product called Spay and Neuter Protocol. And I used it in my clinic for 25 years. I use it on my animals here, like my cats that are spayed and neutered. It's a homeopathic remedy that literally, if it's a female cat, it gets female ovaries, female cat ovary. Male cat gets male cat testes. Same with dogs, like male and female um, testes and ovaries of canines. So, and it really is helpful to put them on, and they go on it lifelong. And it's something that, is really great. And also, making sure amino acids are functioning well and you're supporting the endocrine system in the gut, that the gut can continue to regulate, help to regulate the set, like the hormones that sex hormones actually regulate. So don't get your knickers all in a knot and get all worried about, oh my gosh, if I neuter my dog, he's gonna die from cancer. There's lots of things that you can do to help implement that, and he's not 6 months old. So I think, is he going to be able to go out and have a free and happy, wonderful life? Or is he going to have to stay in a backyard and not go out as much? That's to me is going to be as detrimental as fixing him at 20 months, not 6 months.
Yeah, some people are
Is
asking.
Andrea,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, is Andrea the only one that has it? Yes. We were bringing it in from Scotland and then Health Canada stopped us.
Oh,
So, and they stopped us. So we couldn't bring it in, but she can still get it. So I send everyone to her.
I saw some people asking here when we usually host our AJA. So usually it's the first Wednesday of every month. So monthly, first Wednesday. Uh, Sometimes we need to change a little bit the schedule, but we usually have it every month. And yes, this has been recorded, and we are gonna post tomorrow, if not tomorrow, by tomorrow is Thursday, by Friday on our YouTube channel. And everyone here will also getting an email from us with the recording. Yeah, so I want to thank everyone who joined us today. And thank you, Julie, again for your time and for all your knowledge. And I wish you all a great night.
And
And oh, sorry.
and some people can send, like, if people are looking for help with stuff, like especially if they're wondering what to give, they just can reach out to customer service, right?
Yes, they can. Definitely. I was going to say
So
that they can
over
read.
their, yeah, if it's over their head, they send it to me anyway. So
Yes, you guys can send
mhm.
us an email. And Emily just posted, just put the email here, question@adorbees.com, or you can go through our website and ask your question there. Um, yeah, and like Julie said, if they have trouble answering it, they're gonna ask Julie for help. So please ask them. Again, I wish you all a great night, and don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. You can sign up on our website to get all the information about the Dorbies, our promos, new blog postings, and future Ask Julie Anything sessions. So
I want
goodbye.
one
Oh,
thing to say. One thing to say. Someone asked
okay.
if you can put colloidal silver in eyes. You can
Okay. Yes.
put our colloidal silver in ice because it's got a spray, so you don't have to touch anything. You can. And the person that asked about the goopy eyes, if it's really goopy, you can use colloidal silver. That that just spurred my thought process about the dog with the goopy eyes, if he's still here.
I'm seeing lots of hearts coming up from, and I'm loving it. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, thank you.
All the
Goodbye. Yeah, thank you. Goodbye. Have a great night. Stay warm and be safe, everyone. Bye. So cute. Yeah.
I know.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.